was watching David Carroll's classic masterpiece, The Negro He-Man Woman Haters Club, and I could relate to everything he talked about in that video. And what this Afro-American Negro woman has been trying to do ever since about 2008 when black men started going to YouTube, as far as I've seen, is that she has been trying to censor black men in their discourse where they present arguments that are critical of this Afro-American Negro woman. So whenever she hears viewpoints that pretty much call out her dysfunctional, irresponsible, reckless, and egregious behavior, she makes efforts to try to silence those black men. And she doesn't want information getting out because she knows that information is power. So these Afro American Negro women will get together and make efforts to try to control the narrative. They don't want the narrative being taken out of their hands. Now, way back in the 1970s, early 1980s, the Afro American Negro woman took control of the narrative regarding the black community. And because the white liberal wanted to control the black community, gave her that power over the media. And she's been used to having control over this narrative for, I say, about 35, 40 years. And she's used that to present herself as a victim on shows like your Oprah Winfrey Show, where she bashed up black men for years, your Ricky Lakes, your Tyras, and many of these other talk shows where she sat there and beat up black men. Not to mention your books like your Terry McMillan's Waiting to Exhale or your Tyler Perry films. This is her controlling the narrative and trying to control the flow of information. And in all of the information she presents, she always represents herself as some sort of victim of no good black men. But ever since the internet came along and YouTube came along, African American men have been presenting a counterpoint. And what the Afro American Negro woman wants to do is she wants to silence that counterpoint because it reveals facts that she doesn't want heard about herself. And this shows me something that I talked about in another video a while back about the Afro American Negro community being a fascist state. And it's a fascist state because your Afro American Negro woman does not want black men to have freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and to present a counterpoint regarding their views that are critical of black women. When it comes down to your Afro American Negro woman, she wants everything to be praising her, giving her accolades, and presenting anything that presents her in a positive light. But if you present her and you're critical of her, she wants to censor it. She wants to silence you. And I've noticed this pattern ever since I made my first real video about 5 or 6 years ago, where I talked about the censorship back then when guys like Dan Freeman and General Backlash had their channels flagged and deleted, and guys like Mr. Superboy had his original channel deleted because they were making videos that were critical of black women. And this is just another tactic that this Afro-American Negro woman is using right now to try to regain control over the online forums in an effort to try to silence African American men who are critical of her and critical of her behaviors and want to hold her accountable. So they come up with these tactics, and I've run into, quite a few of these tactics myself since 2011 when I was writing blogs that were critical of this Afro-American Negro woman. Now just this year, I had a old blog that I wrote way back in 2012. These Afro-American Negro women and these single mothers got together and decided they were going to take that blog viral in an effort to discredit me. And what was crazy about it is it blew up in their faces. They tried to, try to get me to engage them and go back and forth with them. And when I did nothing, there was nothing they could do. And then I decided, I would make my own video, the Why Real Men Avoid Single Mothers, where I reinforced my own arguments and presented a strong case for why men should avoid single mothers. But they decided they were going to take this old blog, dig it up, they put it on a radio show, and what they did was I was getting 5,000-6,000 hits on my blog regarding this one article, and people were trying to, get me to go back and forth with them. And I had been focused mostly on my comic blogs and other things, so I didn't really care. What I did is I just let it go, and it just came and went. And I did not allow them to control the narrative regarding that blog. I pretty much, after I made the video, it was pretty much over with. They were trying to get me to go back and forth with them. This is what a lot of these Afro-American Negro women want to do, because they want to start the finger point game where after they attack you, which is we're basically throwing their rocks, they want you to come back and attack them and go back and forth with them. And when I refused to do that, it pretty much died it down. And this had gone on. People were trying to get at me at Twitter, trying to go back and forth with me, saying I was generalizing. And this is what your Afro-American Negro woman will do. She will do this, try to get you into an argument with her, because she knows if she can get you into an argument with her, she can then get these simps and these Captain Save'ems to come out of the back, out of the shadows, and then start seeing you as the bad guy. When in actuality, she is the bad guy, and what she's trying to do again is trying to silence you so that she can control that narrative regarding the African American community. She wants to maintain her power, she wants to maintain her control, and she wants to silence any information that, again, puts her in a negative light or anyone who holds her accountable. So what she'll do is she'll try to attack you, and she'll try to call you a misogynist. She'll try to call you a sexist. And this is something I have run into on the regular when I presented blogs, again, like the Why Real Men Avoid Single Mothers, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. I got a lot of heat on that one. And Ways Single Mothers Destroy Their Sons. Whenever I would present any arguments like this that are critical of black women or women in general, these Afro-American women, Negro women, would come out trying to attack me with shaming tactics. And I'll leave links in the description box to all those classic blogs, so you can just read the comments section. And what they want to do, again, is get you to go back and forth with them, because when it comes down to women, what they want to do is they want to get you in an argument. And when they get you in that argument, then they know that the simps on the outside, the manginas, the Captain Save'ems, they know that they're going to come to her rescue. And they know that once they come to her rescue and start shouting you down or physically attacking you, they pretty much can go back to business as usual. And that's what they're really afraid of, because when it comes down to this Afro-American Negro woman, she knows that her whole economic system is based on victimization. She knows that as long as she can portray herself as the victim, she can make money. And if people start holding her accountable, she's not going to be able to make money like she has. Because again, the Afro-American Negro economy is a matriarchal infrastructure. And it pretty much makes money by the woman being the primary breadwinner. So when she starts seeing these videos calling her out for her irresponsible, reckless, and egregious behavior, she knows that people are starting to take another critical look at her and hold her accountable for her behavior. And she does not want that to happen. So she'll come out and say, "You're bashing black women. You're a misogynist again. You're a sexist. You hate black women. You hate yourself." These shaming tactics that she uses to silence any sort of debate or any sort of presentation that is critical of her. I find it interesting that she's going to call guys like David Carroll a He-Man woman hater, but these same Negro women will sit there and give people like your Two Live Crews, your Jay-Z's, your Ice Cubes, many of these gangster rappers that they used to listen to back in the day and still listen to, a pass for calling them B's and H's. It's just crazy to me, because it's just crazy to me. You're gonna sit there and give these gangster rappers, these gang members, these thugs, these people who call you B's and H's, you give them passes for being openly misogynistic to you. Yet a man who is critical of you, you're gonna say he's a woman hater. That is completely backwards in itself. I listened to that, and it's just a total contradiction right there, and it shows you the truth regarding this Afro-American Negro woman whenever someone tries to hold her accountable. It's okay for these gangster rappers and these thugs to call her a B and an H, but a man who's critical of her is a Negro, He-Man, woman hater. That shows you that she wants to control the narrative, she wants to control the dialogue, and she wants to pretty much unilaterally bring down her own fascist state on the Afro-American Negro community. Because as long as the Afro-American Negro man is being dictated to by her, everything is fine. As long as he's sitting there listening to her talk about these no good men, about these no good Negroes, as long as he's sitting there talking about how this guy did her wrong, and she's got these simps sitting there trying to not be this phantom menace that had did her wrong and is trying to be the complete opposite and is trying to submit to her and win to her favor, everything is fine. But whenever you are critical of this Afro-American Negro woman, then she has an issue with it. Then you're a misogynist. Then you're a He-Man woman hater. Then you're a monster. And again, this is par for the course with your Afro-American Negro woman, because she wants to control the narrative. She wants to control the dialogue. And this is one of the reasons why I say many of these Afro-American Negro women, not all, are the enforcers of your white supremacy. Because if you look at the bigger picture, if you want to follow this white liberal's narrative, you pretty much are his enforcer. You're doing his dirty work. And this is what many of these Afro-American Negro women want to do. They want to continue with this, again, because the economic system that is under control is benefiting them. So they want to keep the money flowing in their direction. And they know if this Negro man starts to take another long, hard look at this Negro female and starts to take a critical look at her, her flow of dollars may eventually get disrupted. And guys like your Negro pastor know this as well, because they pretty much, again, they all make their money off this matriarchal economic system. And these are all points that I went into in depth in my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. And this is another one of the tactics that they use to try to censor any sort of open dialogue in the Afro-American Negro community, because your Afro-American Negro woman has benefited tremendously from this pseudo-fascist state, not really pseudo-fascist, but de facto fascist state that has been imposed on the black community. And she enjoys controlling that narrative. She enjoys controlling the dialogue. She enjoys dictating the terms of what is considered black in the African American Negro community. And she makes efforts to censor anyone who will disagree with her, present a difference of opinion, present a different viewpoint, present different ideas. And she does not want different ideas coming out, because she fears any idea that is different from what she wants in her narrative and her white liberal master's narrative will challenge her economic system, her economic model, and most importantly, we make efforts to open people's minds up to understand that everything that she presents, in many cases, is a lie, and that the truth is truly out there. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.